Increasing your income is all about putting yourself in a position of power. You want to see what power looks like? So I actually ended up getting sick right before the holidays, but right before that, I bought a PS5, so that was kind of perfect timing. Ghost of Tsushima is so good. Here's some really cool screenshots that I took in the game. Anyway, today I would like to tell you about how I was able to increase my income from $34,000 to around $80,000 in a period that spanned roughly about 3 years of time, from the period of late 2016 to 2020. For me, this was the age of 22 to 26, and it covered the period of time where I worked for an employer. Following this video, I'll be making a video about how I was able to more than double my last year's income in 2021, so make sure to subscribe if you want to catch that one. I wanted to share this information with you because, just like I talked about in one of my previous videos, empowering ourselves financially unlocks the full expression of what it means for you to live a good life. For me, that's based on the pillars of wealth, health, and meaning. And income, in many ways, is the fuel to get us there. So let's talk about it. So the overarching theme of this video is going to be talking about power dynamics. I wasn't lying in the intro. As we move through the course of this video, the goal is to basically allow you to continuously improve your position of bargaining power in relation to your pay. Earning more money is all about creating a perception that you can provide value. So let's make that perception a reality. One of the biggest challenges I faced when trying to start my career was, well, just starting. I had complete analysis paralysis, meaning I just couldn't decide what to do. I would look at one job and be like, oh, this job has this type of salary, but it looks like a dreadful job. And so I would just waffle back and forth before I even sent out any applications, really. In hindsight, if I could go back in time, I would just tell myself to just get a job. Just get yourself into the workforce. This is one of the best things you can do to immediately increase your position of power. That's because there's this weird thing that happens when it's way easier to get a job once you already have a job. Think of it this way. So I live in Canada, but if I wanted to get overseas to Europe, I would have to buy a plane ticket, but that plane ticket is probably going to be fairly expensive. But once I actually arrive in Europe, now moving around on the continent is actually really cheap and easy. So the goal is to get yourself into Europe, just get yourself into the workforce, and then you can move around much easier inside of it. So in my case, I got in on the ground level of an investment advisory firm, like absolute rock bottom, and the pay reflected this. But there was huge upside here if I decided to stay at this job, and at one point I was even given the opportunity to work under and be mentored by somebody managing tens of millions of dollars. I did inevitably end up leaving this job because although I could have had, a path in front of me where I could have made a lot of money here, that money would have come from charging my clients exorbitant management fees, and that just didn't sit very well with me. But besides that, the main value I received from working this job was a massive boost to my soft skills. Soft skills are the skills that you use to interact with other people. They're kind of the difference between a manager and an employee. As you transition up the chain of command, you usually transition from hard skills to soft skills. So this provided a ton of value to me because now basically every interview I went to, I absolutely killed it. Like, those were the golden days of my smooth talking. Like, my God, I could have sold anybody a pen. And so it was, by only spending something like 3 or 4 months at this investment advisory job, I was able to increase my perceived value by orders of magnitude. And as a result, I was able to use these newfound skills to transition to a new job with a starting salary of $47,000. So this was about an increase in pay of about 38%. Not bad for only a few months in the workforce. There's huge value in being able to build good relationships with your coworkers, just like the good relationship I have with my current boss. Right, boss? Yeah, you're doing pretty good. Except for one thing. What? Did I forget something? $50 for your audience. They can refer more friends and they can get more money. I don't... Oh, the Neo thing. The Neo thing. I'm so sorry. You're on thin ice, buddy. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just want to give you guys a heads up that there is a crazy referral bonus going on right now with Neo. If you sign up for this card, which I use and love, by the way, it has something like an average of 4% cash back on it. You'll get $50 right now. Yes, that's $50 just for signing up. And on top of that, this is a referral link, which means that you can also use this. So if you see where I'm going with this, if you know a couple friends, so let's say you sign up with my link, you get that $50. You know a couple friends, you tell them about it, you refer them to, you get more $50. Can get a lot of money pretty quickly. And on top of that, you'll get a credit card that's actually really awesome. This is my go-to credit card these days. I told you guys about that in a recent video explaining my whole banking setup now. It has 0 fees, cash back is instant, all this awesome stuff that you want in a good credit card. So grab that 50 bones down below if you want it. I don't expect this to last very long. I don't know, that seems like a crazy bonus to me. Okay, so changing your job is clearly a way to increase your income, but what about increasing your income at your current job? Well, once again, let's return to the idea of perceived value. If you can make your company think that you're really valuable, well, most likely your pay is going to reflect that. If it doesn't, then get the heck out of there and find a place that actually values you for what you're worth. But okay, how do we actually make an employer see us as valuable? Well, allow me to explain the method I use to increase my starting salary at this job from $47,000 to $80,000 by the time that I quit to become self-employed. The method is what I call building your case. You are going to build and then present a case to ask for whatever you want. More pay, time off, a promotion, whatever you want, really. The first step of building your case is the most important, and that's because we actually have to do something. You see, I'm talking a lot about increasing our perceived value in the workplace, but I'm not talking about like tricking people into thinking we're valuable. I'm talking about actually doing things that demonstrate our value. So here's a trick I use to do that. It should be pretty widely applicable to most working scenarios. The trick is to make life easier for people at your work, especially colleagues who have a close relationship to you. This sounds pretty simple and maybe even pretty obvious, but listen, I don't see a lot of people doing this. So here's an example. At my work, we had a ton of these Excel sheets that everybody had to basically fill data into on a regular basis, but the process was very manual. It was very tedious, it was not efficient, and everybody complained about it all the time because it just sucked up so much unnecessary time. But nobody did anything about this. So I decided to do some Googling and try and figure out how to build an Excel macro. And an Excel macro is basically like a simple program you can use to automate things in Excel. And so I ended up building one, and voila. Everybody's life just got a whole lot easier because of that. People are generally very happy when you do this. So what I learned from this is that it's good to pay attention to what other people are complaining about around you. Listen to what seems to be the most annoying thing to them. And if you can fix this, then boy, oh boy, you are about to become everybody's favorite person. And when you do this, you immediately increase your perceived value. People see you as somebody who can get things done. They will trust you more. Now that you've actually done something useful, it's time to make sure that you actually get credit for it. Too often, I would see employees do amazing things, but never use that as leverage when they're negotiating for something. I would literally see like super high performing employees constantly complaining about their pay, about the time they have to work, about not getting enough vacation. And I was like, yo, you are in such a position of power here. Like you need to use this. But they didn't do this crucial step. They did not track the value that they are providing. So what I would do, and I don't know if this sounds crazy, but this is just what I did. I would literally, like, anytime I solved like a pretty good problem or anything where I thought I provided a lot of value, I would track the crap out of that event. And what I mean by that is I would basically keep a record of all the emails, messages, notes, whatever it was, where people were saying like, hey, thanks Steve for doing this. Like, this was really great, really helpful. Thanks so much. I would save all of these and put them into a folder. When I said we're building a case, I'm being serious. I literally meant it. Like, we're going to court. Grab your briefcase. Let's go. Look, the honest truth is that in the vast majority of cases, employers are trying to pay employees the least amount of money possible to fill that role. And employees are trying to get the most amount of money from an employer. This is a negotiation. It's a two-way thing. But if you're just being like a limp dead body on your end and not doing anything, well, guess what? You're not gonna get paid more money because the other side of the negotiation is the only one doing anything. So anyway, as fate would have it, about 4 months into this job, a position opened up on my team that was above me. This particular job had a starting salary of $52,000, and on top of that, my probation would be done, which means I would now be eligible for basically this really generous RRSP matching program as well as a performance bonus. So I very much wanted this position. And now it was time to present my case. My favorite thing about building a case to then present to someone is you can kind of make them eat their words. If you say, hey, I think I should get a raise because I did this really awesome thing, and then they think to themselves, yeah, you did do that thing, but was it really that awesome? And then you can be like, well, I mean, according to you it was, and then you can kind of show them exactly what they said. Now the goal here isn't to make your boss like look dumb or feel stupid or anything like that. The goal is to provide an actual, real, tangible basis for why you deserve what you are asking for. Remember, it's just the way job economics work. The companies are trying to pay you as little as possible to get you to do the job. So sometimes getting a raise or promotion or whatever it is can be a little bit like trying to pull teeth. And this usually isn't your boss's fault. Usually there's a chain of command. There's always somebody else breathing down their neck. There's always targets they have to meet for their salaries and all this kind of stuff. But despite all that, in my experience anyway, it's a lot harder for your boss to shoot you down if you present them with a case with like documented proof of what you've done. So for me, I was able to use this strategy to end up landing this promotion despite being somebody who was super new to the company, super new on the team. Other people on the team wanted the promotion too, but I was the one who ended up getting it. And the following year, I would use the same strategy again to get my pay bumped up from $52,000 to $56,000, which was a raise of about, I think, 8-ish%, which was the highest on the team. From talking to everybody else, I think everybody else got around 4-ish%. Factoring in the performance bonus, which was quite large, and then the RRSP contribution from my employer, it brought my total annual compensation for 2020 to around $80,000. Now, I didn't realize that full $80,000 because I ended up quitting about halfway through the year to be self-employed, but that's how much I would have made if I did end up staying there. Something just came to mind actually. One of my favorite phrases I think applies really well here, and that's closed mouths don't get fed. Remember those workers I was talking about earlier, the ones who provided so much value but didn't seem to get anything in return? Well, I think it's because they didn't speak up. If you know you are the most valuable person on your team, or that the team would be screwed if you left, that's power. You can use that, but you have to act like it. You have to ask for things. 99% of the time, a raise, a promotion, whatever it is not going to just come to you. It would be nice if it did, but that's just not really the way the world works. But these days, my strategy is a little bit different, and fortunately, my boss is pretty good. He works me pretty hard, but at least he pays pretty well. So to recap, this video covered the period of my life from the ages of 22 to 26, where I was making $34,000 to about $80,000. And following this, I would like to make kind of part 2 to this from the ages of 26 to 27, where I went from 80 to more than double that being self-employed. I wanted to split these two videos up because I think they're very different in terms of like the strategies I use to increase the income in those periods of time. But I think each part of that story is equally interesting and hopefully valuable to you. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget, if you want that $50 and to try out an awesome credit card, I mean, like I said, I really like it. Don't forget to check out the link in the description down below, and have yourself a great week. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon.